Before we get into the other big topic, uh, I'm just curious to know this. People said, especially after qualifying, that many Penske cars at the front. Oh, this is a flat racetrack, just like Phoenix. Penske cars. In fact, Chris Gabehart said it himself. He said, when the playoffs start, here come the yellow cars, referring to Blaney and Logano. And guys Blaney's been relatively fast all year, but Joey has not. And now it seems like at Bristol and now at New Hampshire, he's knocking out some top fives. And how nervous are you now about Joey Logano being in the Final Four?
Yeah, I'm definitely pretty nervous about it.
Following is a production of
The Garage Area.
Welcome into the Garage Area. This is our post-New Hampshire recap show, and we see Ryan Blaney end up getting the win and advancing on into the next round here with that win. So the racing at New Hampshire, not really one of my favorite tracks, not really the type of racing that I normally would be looking forward to. But personally, I actually thought that this outperformed my expectations, and I felt like they actually put on a little better race than I was anticipating. I was thinking that, with this car, you're going to have a difficult time passing, which New Hampshire already is a difficult racetrack to pass at in the first place, plus the dirty air factor, plus the fact that the tires aren't really going to give up any. And we really didn't have a ton, as much as we could have, of that issue in this race. It seemed like it was a little easier to get by somebody if you had a faster car, and the tires did play a little bit of a factor, although not as large a one as we would have liked to see, I would assume. If we had to do it all over again, you picked Christopher Bell, I picked Chase Briscoe. Bell finished sixth and Briscoe finished 10th. If if we had to do it all over again, I would have picked Bell instead of Briscoe. Like that's really who I was between. The only other cars that I was considering, and just because of where they qualified, was Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, and that was it. That was just because of where they qualified is why I was thinking that would be a possibility. Joey Logano ends up leading a ton of laps in this race. I'm not 100% sure how many it was. Hang on, let me look here. He led 147 laps. Blaney led 116 and ends up getting the win. Um, and Josh Berry as well ended up in second place there with a good run for the Wood Brothers Ford. Big, big bounce back from the last 3 weeks, really, that he experienced. Uh, let's talk about it, Ryan. What did you think about the race itself? Like me, did it exceed your expectations? Was it about what you expected? What'd you see?
Yeah, it was. I pretty much agree with everything you said. It exceeded my expectations. Obviously, I think passing is still harder than it should be, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it has been. Tires, they definitely made a difference, and I kind of like the fact that even when drivers tires mattered, and that like in the end where Josh Berry and Chase Elliott stayed out on that last stop, last caution with the old, like 10 to 12 lap older tires, that they were still able to compete on them, but they weren't as much of an advantage. Although the other drivers had two tires at that point, but four tires were still faster than the two, and two were still faster than the four. But they all kind of, I feel like the ratio of speeds between the four that ended up working themselves out, and if Bell had them four tires at the end was coming up through the field, it felt about like the right ratio, but maybe altogether they probably could have wore out a little bit quicker. That'd be the only addition I could add, but overall, I thought it was a pretty decent race.
Yeah. I don't know what you think of New Hampshire in general. The Northeast has kind of been losing dates over the years. We got one Dover race, one Pocono race, and now one New Hampshire race. Do you feel like that? Um, do you feel like New Hampshire should have a second date? Do you feel like we should race more places in the Northeast? Do you think some of those other tracks should have their dates back? Or do you think that this one date at these racetracks is serving them well?
I think it's serving them well. I mean, they showed a lot of fans at the track this weekend. It didn't look near as bare as some other tracks that have these two dates, or the racing hasn't been as good at and stuff. And I think although the racing product that this brought may bring more fans in or make the more people want to show up, but I mean, New Hampshire as itself isn't really a track that it's not I'd probably ever go to see because I'm not close to there and that. And I mean, I don't know, just one race is enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Did anybody kind of surprise you with their performance this week? Uh, for me, obviously, Josh Berry being up there did surprise me a little bit, but he was on my radar. And oh, Ryan Priest was as well, although he didn't make nearly as much noise. Um, was there anybody like that that kind of popped up and surprised you as to where they ended up running? And was there anybody that you thought would run better than they did?
Well, I'm surprised Chase Elliott got a top five. That's
Always the pessimist.
but I see Michael McDowell got finished eighth. Who really surprised me was Shane Van Gisbergen. He didn't get to finish, but he ran top five there that first stage. I don't know if that's where he finished, but I remember seeing him fifth place for a long time and for the first stage, but ended up getting taken out by
Keselowski.
Keselowski. Yeah, the Josh Berry spin was popping in my head, but I was like, that's not where it happened. But yeah, it was between those two drivers running like sixth or seventh at that point, but. Shane definitely showed that he had something for this racetrack, anyways. Whether that proves more and more ovals is yet to see, but that was my biggest surprise this weekend. Other than that, Tyler Reddick, he kind of faded there. He started out front, ran top 10 there first stage, and he fell back. I mean, that was kind of a disappointing day I saw out of him, but I definitely expected Hamlin and Bell to be more competitive than they were. That's about all the more I could say. We had disappointing days.
For SVG, you're right. He was running in the top five. I noticed that right away and was hanging out there. Like he was consistently running there well. Um, I was pleasantly surprised by that. And unfortunately, he ends up with a 32nd place finish after I assume he suffered some damage in that spin from Keselowski and whatnot. I'll tell you who really did surprise me as good as they have run coming into this round was Bubba Wallace. Ended up finishing 26th and just really didn't have the car that they needed to have to compete. And because he didn't come into this round with a whole lot of playoff points, even as well as he had run, one bad race like this puts him in trouble and he needs to be able to perform at Kansas, which he has won there before, and the Charlotte Roval, which he's run better at road courses lately. But those are two tough racetracks, and they're going to have to get something figured out there. They will be in trouble. I also agree with Tyler Reddick. Um, I agree with you about Tyler Reddick saying that he kind of surprising where he ran today. I was a little bit surprised that all of the Penske cars ran in the top five except for Austin Cindric. I kind of thought that he would be up there a little further as well. He ended up finishing 17th, but a lot of times he is the weakest Penske car. But this just seems like his type of racetrack as well. I mean, he won at Gateway. That's a relatively flat racetrack. Um, just I kind of assumed he would have performed a little better than he did today, but just not the case. I mean, even Alex Bowman outraced him, which is surprising. And like I said, Ryan Preece, I kind of thought would be on my radar a little bit. Ended up finishing 14th. Couple things that they mentioned on the teardown today that I thought were interesting. Do you know how many races 2311 has won this year?
I believe just one with Bubba Wallace.
But isn't that surprising? Like if you are correct, but at the same point, I would be like, oh, 2311, they probably won three or four. And then it's like, oh, just Indy with Bubba. That's it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I mean, I knew that, and I just, I feel like Tyler Reddick has had speed at times and never can finish it off. It's like like this weekend, I know he was running top 10 there the first stage. I think he qualified top five, and then and by the end of the races, he falls off the map. Bubba, I think, has been the highlight of the team this year. And
Yeah.
I mean, not just because of that win, but the performance other races. He's finishing top 10 at week in and week out. Maybe with this weekend he'd be an exception. But yeah, Tyler Reddick I think has really struggled this year. I don't know if this lawsuit stuff has put a hamper on the team as a whole. Um, we keep forgetting that Riley Herbst is even on that team. I mean, that's uh,
Who?
what was his name again? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know if the combination of the addition of another teams taking resources from one to another, or the lawsuits have hampered their performance. But I just feel like that team as a whole has decreased in performance, with the exception of Bubba Wallace. That I feel like this has been one of his career years.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually just looking. I didn't even think Riley Herbst was in this race, but he finished 22nd behind Tyler Reddick. Uh, yeah, it's kind of surprising that they only have the one win. You know how many wins RFK has this year?
They don't have any.
They have none. And that also surprises me for as well as Brad's run, for as well as Priest's run at times. And Busher is, you know, I wouldn't say week in and week out, but he's definitely has moments where it's like, oh, 17 cars fast today. And it's very surprising to me that, it seems like they at least get one or two throughout the year. And to have none so far is just, it's surprising based on how they've run, I guess I would say. You know how many wins Trackhouse has?
Um, Five,
Yeah.
because Shane has four.
Shane has four and Ross has one. And final piece of trivia here. We're going to Kansas this week, which is a mile and a half racetrack. You know when the last time we were at a mile and a half racetrack was?
Was it Charlotte?
Yes, the Coke 600
It
at
was.
Charlotte,
I had.
May. Uh, there was a day when it felt like that's all we went to was mile and a half racetracks, and that's what I loved. I mean, I was happy to go to mile and a half racetracks, and now it's been all summer since we've seen a mile and a half. So I'll be happy to get back to that, and hopefully that the good racing ends up coming with that as well. Um, there was three guys that got a lot of talk this week because were involved in the tire test, and that was Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, and Ross Chastain. Did do you feel like that provided them any advantage in one case? And two, um, are you surprised by the result?
um, I don't know if it necessarily gave them an advantage because all the other teams. You're talking about Penske as a whole having the advantage, or is that, or just all the
Or
drivers?
any of the ones that tire tested?
Um, I I I think it does give them a little bit of an advantage, but I feel like all the teams get all the same information and whatnot, and they can put all have the opportunity to put it into their cars. But I don't know. Do you remember who was all there other than Logano, and I believe Bell was there too, right?
Yeah, sorry. Logano, Bell, and Chastain were the three that tested.
Okay. Um, I mean the cars that ran fast are there, but I mean are expected to run fast there anyways. So I don't know if it really was that much of an advantage.
So this is my thought is Christopher Bell is already really good here. So if the tire testing was an advantage, you would think that he would have been in the top three all day.
Yeah.
Um, as a Logano fan, I saw a lot of criticism online of, well, the 22 car tested here, and he's going to be really good. This isn't fair. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. And it's like, dude, there was two other guys there at that test, and one finished sixth, the other one finished 10th, where Logano led 147 laps, and it ended up finishing fourth, but had a shot at the win at one point. Um, I get it. I get why people are upset about that because they just hate Joey Logano. But I don't see that as a significant enough advantage to say that it was unfair or that they were cheating or whatever. It just seems like the Penske cars showed up and ready to perform today, and some of the guys that you thought would have really didn't. I was a little bit surprised by Hendrick that they ran as well as they did. I know that you were saying that you were surprised Elliott got a top five, but isn't this like statistically one of his worst tracks?
Yeah, I remember somebody last week's DBC when they were talking about. I think it was DBC. They were talking about their picks, whatever, at the end that Chase hasn't. Maybe it was Denny Hamlin or one of them stats, whatever. That Chase hadn't finished in the top 20 there, like three straight races or something like that. So,
Wow.
um, but Hendrick as a whole, I don't think has won there in a long. The last Hendrick win I remember was like when Kyle Busch was driving for him,
Oh, really? Wow.
and that was 6, 7 somewhere in there.
Hmm.
But there could be one there that I'm forgetting, but that's the last one I remember.
Jimmy Johnson had to win there at some point.
Possibly, I don't remember anymore.
Um, But yeah, Ryan Blaney ends up coming away with the victory. Josh Berry second. I know that some people were talking about the 21 had to kind of handle Blaney with kid gloves because of it being somewhat of a teammate situation, and Berry wasn't allowed to race as hard as he wanted to in order to get up through and really challenge Ryan for the win. I put zero stock in that at all. I don't think that Josh Berry was going easy on Blaney because of the playoff situation one bit. I think that he was trying to go up there and win that race. Didn't see anything related to team orders or anything like that at all. Did you?
um, I don't think there was any team orders for him to not like pass him or whatever, but I think he was just racing out of respect to not rough him up and make a clean pass on him.
Which you would think as somebody that's been eliminated from the playoffs that that's how you should race anyway, right?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. We're gonna come right back to that topic. But before we get off into the weeds here a little bit, what would you rate this race?
Um, I give it a 7. It exceeded what I thought it would be. There was some decent passing allowed. Um, Tire wear was involved, and four tires were better than two, and two were better than no tires. At the end with like 10 laps or whatever on them, but they all weren't so out of whack that you couldn't stay out on two versus four or whatnot and still compete. So I feel like the ratio of wear was pretty good. I just kind of wish it would have been just a little bit more wear, but other than that, it far exceeded what I thought it would be.
Yeah, honestly, our conversation here tonight has kind of swayed me a little bit and bumped me up a click. Because I was going to say six coming into this, but I'm also going to say a seven. I think that that's a good number for where this one fit because it did exceed my expectations, which were pretty low in the first place, and we ended up having a pretty decent race out of all that. So I guess we're both going to end up giving it a seven here tonight. Just real quick by way of mentioning it, I guess Cody Ware, he ended up getting spun by Austin Dillon. And that was like six to go in the stage, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And Dillon's just trying to go to try to keep from getting lapped if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
And then sorry,
was
go
yeah,
ahead.
the 12 was right there, right behind him.
Yeah. And later in the race, when the 51 got back around to the three, he tried to take a swing at him and wreck him and missed and wrecked himself, which is the most Cody Ware thing ever. Um, don't really have any more to say about that, but just kind of like Alex Bowman being a hack, I have to bring up when Cody Ware does dumb stuff too. It just it makes my life feel complete, like we actually watched a race. In fact, at that particular point, that the second spin happened, um, I was getting ready to cook dinner for the family there, and I went out and I threw some meat on the smoker. And when when I came back in the house, my wife said she was half paying attention. She said that there was a car that spun. She goes, I think it was the 51. I said, oh yeah, we always get scheduled for a Cody Ware caution throughout the day, so that's nothing new. Uh, but yeah, that I think that Penske kind of um, surprised us with their performance a little bit, and Hendrick ran well, and the Gibbs cars kind of disappointed me a little bit in how that they ended up running. SVG ran well, and Josh Berry, although somewhat of a Penske car, also had a really good day, which was pleasantly surprising, I guess you could say. Okay, before we get into the other big topic, uh, I'm just curious to know this. People said, especially after qualifying, that many Penske cars at the front. Oh, this is a flat racetrack just like Phoenix. Penske cars. In fact, Chris Gabehart said it himself. He said, when the playoffs start, here come the yellow cars, referring to Blaney and Logano. And guys that now Blaney's been relatively fast all year, but Joey has not. And now it seems like at Bristol and now at New Hampshire, he's knocking out some top fives. And how nervous are you now about Joey Logano being in the Final Four?
Yeah, I don't know about the Final Four, but hell yeah. I mean, he's run well at Vegas, so it does. Yeah, I'm definitely pretty nervous about it.
Yeah, that he came into this round as the first or second car below the cut line, and now he's got a 20 some point advantage on the cut going into Kansas, where he's won at least once, maybe twice. And yeah, definitely won twice because he spun Matt Kenseth that year. And he held off Kevin Harvick another year. So um, it's been at least twice that he's won there. And it wouldn't be to me outside of the realm of possibilities to see the that yellow car up there and fast this coming weekend at Kansas. So I want to what I want to do is I'm gonna tell you the tracks that are on the schedule here, and I want you to tell me if you think that Joey Logano can win at these racetracks, okay? All right, Kansas,
Yeah,
Charlotte Road Course,
I don't see that one.
Las Vegas,
I think so. Yeah,
Talladega,
yeah.
Martinsville.
I think obviously he runs strong there, so I feel like
You
there's
got
going to be a
it.
few better than him, but I think he could run up front nearly. So yeah,
You probably got to go through the 12, but it's a possibility.
yeah.
Phoenix.
Well, obviously, yeah,
Okay. Same thing with Ryan Blaney. Okay. Kansas,
yeah,
Charlotte Road Course.
yeah,
Got his first win there. Las Vegas,
yeah,
Talladega,
yep,
Martinsville,
yeah,
Phoenix.
yeah,
Are you scared of the Penske cars?
yeah.
Okay. Chase Elliott, Kansas,
No.
Charlotte,
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Charlotte,
yes for Kansas, but yeah.
Charlotte Road Course,
I think he can.
Las Vegas,
I feel like he doesn't really run. I don't know. Vegas doesn't seem like a track he's good at.
Talladega,
Yeah, he could win there. Anybody could.
Martinsville,
He runs strong there. Yeah.
Phoenix.
No,
He's got a win there.
he does in the Gen 6 car, but the Gen 7 car, this next gen car, he has Hendrick Motorsports doesn't run well there at all.
Okay. Um, two more. One, Denny Hamlin, Kansas,
Yeah.
Charlotte Road Course,
No.
Vegas,
Yeah.
Talladega,
Yeah.
Martinsville,
Yeah.
Phoenix.
I think he could. Yeah.
All right. And then Chase Briscoe, Kansas,
Yeah.
Charlotte Road Course.
I'm just gonna say no because I'm not sure of his road course history really. So.
Uh, my only thing that comes to mind with the road course is the Indy Road Course when he got that track penalty and then wrecked Denny Hamlin.
Oh yeah.
But he was running up front.
Yeah.
Las Vegas,
Yeah.
Talladega,
Yeah.
Martinsville,
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phew. Sounds like all of them guys are pretty dangerous.
Yeah. That's
Um, yeah, I'm looking at that schedule and there's nobody that jumps off the page at me as, oh yeah, I think that they'll be really good at Kansas, or I think they'll be really good at the Charlotte Road Course, other than maybe SVG. I think they'll be really good at Vegas. Christopher Bell and Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney. Those are the first three that come to my mind. Talladega, I'm thinking whoever qualifies well and saves the most fuel. Martinsville, Ryan Blaney is on my list, top of my list. And Phoenix, if Logano's there, give me Joe Logano. If Logano's not there, give me Ryan Blaney. If Ryan Blaney's not there, give me Christopher Bell.
Yeah. Other than I still think Blaney is a little bit better at Phoenix than Logano definitely was last year, but maybe that's because Logano wasn't in the Final Four. Or wait, I'm getting my years mixed. It was Joey
Yeah,
Logano won. I was thinking the year previous. Never mind.
yeah,
Yeah. So, well, didn't Blaney finish right behind Logano last year?
yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah, he
yeah,
finished. He was trying to catch him at the end, and he just couldn't quite pass him. And then the year before, when Blaney won the championship, it was Ross Chastain leading and holding uh, the 12 car back. And I can't remember who was chasing him.
yeah. I don't remember.
Byron, maybe.
Possibly. I don't remember.
I feel like it was William Byron. Either way, doesn't really matter. Do you feel like Byron is a championship threat?
He's he doesn't
He
feel
finished
like it.
third.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like Hendrick as a whole is like a they finished. I think they had three of the cars at least in the top 10. Um, I'm not sure where Larson finished, but
He finished seventh.
seventh. Yeah. So they feel like they've ran better recently because they kind of gone through a slump. Um, but I just feel like they don't have the winning speed that they would need to have to win the championship. I think they can get through to the next round. But and even if one of them gets to the final four, I just don't see them having that speed to win the championship.
Yeah. I would throw in Kyle Larson at Kansas as well. I can't believe that I left him off that list. That'd be somebody that I think could be fast. All right. Anything else that you wanted to cover before we get into the main story of this race?
I don't got nothing.
Okay. So the big kerfuffle that really took place at this one at New Hampshire was the Ty Gibbs Denny Hamlin issue. I don't remember what place they're racing for, but I think it was still in stage one, wasn't it?
I think it was a stage two,
The beginning of stage two.
somewhere in there. Yeah.
Um, I don't know the entirety of the circumstances. I'm hoping you listen to Denny's podcast and you can shed a little light on this for me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you run with this after I set it up. Uh, Hamlin is trying to pass Ty Gibbs. He is faster than Ty Gibbs. The line that Ty is running is intentionally holding Denny up, which it's racing. You're allowed to do that. But Denny feels like he needs to go. He needs to bring his car up that next position and continue to climb through the field in order to score as many points as possible. And he feels that a teammate of his who is not in the playoffs is holding him up. And as a result of Denny trying to get around him, whether intentional or not, makes contact with the 54, puts him in the fence, puts him out of the race. After the race, the three people that I heard from were Ty Gibbs, who said that when asked about the contact with Hamlin, basically just said, "Yeah, we're going to move on to next week." Didn't have a whole lot to say. Just kind of repeated that same "I'm just here so I don't get fined" line. Essentially, just trying to get people to move on because he didn't want to talk about it. The takeaway that I took from Denny's interview was the savage line, and that was, "I'm trying to win a championship for your family." That made me laugh. And when Chris Gabehart was asked, um, just the thing that he said that stuck out was "Here come the yellow cars," referring to the Penske cars in the playoffs, but also related to that, just kind of the he didn't really want to talk about it, but basically he said that yeah, Denny must have made a mistake getting into the corner because he was trying to deflect the fact that that could have been intentional to wreck him. As somebody who is not in the know, has not pursued this topic as far as you have, at least incidentally, is my assumption. It appeared to me that Denny was really frustrated and was intending to lean on Ty, and then saw him get wrecked and was like, Well, didn't mean to do that, but kind of serves him right at the same time. That's my interpretation of it just from the outside of the race car view. You tell me about it.
So basically, that last point there, whether it was intentional or not, the way Denny talked about it on his podcast was that he went in there, like you said, maybe to get him inside of him, and he said, well, Ty moved his line to try and air block a little bit, and they just made contact, and Denny wasn't lifting. Denny probably could have let him go, but in the end, he said he was tired and just wasn't. Just said no, I'm not moving, and Ty got the raw end of the deal. What I didn't see prior to that Denny talked about is Bell had the same issue with Ty. He couldn't get around Ty, and that's what brought Denny back into it, and he ended up passing Bell, and then he had trouble getting by Ty then. So, what I thought was odd is obviously you saw the prior laps with Hamlin trying to pass him, and you know it came down to front stretch, the right before the corner where Ty got spun. It looked like Ty came down and kind of door slammed Denny, and you saw smoke from the tires a little bit, and contact was made, and then that's when Denny went in hard enough that he says, "All right, I'm not moving out of the way for you and whatnot," and Ty got spun out. So, I think there was more intention there than non unintentional contact, but um, to say that Denny probably could have let him go, and then, but it's just frustration, I guess. That's all I got to say about it, I guess.
Do you think that Denny was in the wrong? Let's say
Uh,
it was intentional. Do you think he was in the wrong?
um, I say no. I mean, considering the circumstances as a teammate, and especially who that teammate is, that you know he's. I assume someday he's going to be under some type of ownership deal of that company, that he should also think about the company as a whole in his family position. So
That's interesting because that's the same point that they brought up on the teardown. That maybe like you just said, I mean, his name's on the building. He's probably going to run that thing someday. And you see the difference between him and Austin Dillon and how they do stuff. Like Dillon, you can argue that doesn't have the talent that should be a Cup Series driver, but at the same point, the moves that he makes are pro RCR. And Ty Gibbs's moves are pro Ty Gibbs, not pro Joe Gibbs Racing.
you,
So go ahead.
you saw that the his final year in Xfinity Series when he took out 20 car was at
I think you mean the 19 Brandon Jones.
Brandon Jones. Yeah, yeah. So that would have put, if Brandon Jones won that race, that it took out a JRM car and out of the final four, and would have helped the company as a whole again. I mean, Ty Gibbs still won his championship, but it was 3 versus 1 at that point into the final four, JRM versus Joe Gibbs. But he thinks of himself and not the team as a whole. And I could understand that if he wasn't like family of the ownership, but I mean, you would think you want what was best for your grandfather's team.
Yeah, you would think so, but apparently that's not on the list of concerns for Ty Gibbs, and my disdain for him continues to grow, and unfortunately, my hate for Denny Hamlin seems to lessen because it just, yeah, just much respect, man. Like this is the snot-nosed kid of your owner for your entire career, grandkid, not kid, but and you're willing to let it all hang out and say, I'm not lifting for you, buddy. And I don't care who you are. And you're going to go in the fence because you are not racing me with the respect that you need to have for a teammate, and especially for a teammate that is still in the playoffs trying to gain points versus one that's not. It'd be one thing if this was for the lead of the race or for a top three, five position. This was not that. Like neither one of them had race winning speed. They weren't going to go up there and grab the lead. It There was just no reason to race like that at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's another argument that Chase Elliott and Joey Logano. I don't remember if it was like the final run or something. They ran hard for a few laps, and then Joey got far enough in, Chase let him by, and Joey was like knew that all right, he let me by and whatnot, and just kind of continued to race on. And Joey waved his hand out the window and thanks or whatever. Those are two competitors racing each other that gave each other respect on a track, and you can't even do that for your own teammate fighting for a championship.
And them two guys don't like each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they like each other less than we like each other. But yeah, that's definitely a fact. They're not a fan of one another, and they could race with that kind of respect because they're intelligent race car drivers, and they're not just gonna be petty and selfish.
Yeah. Now, one other thing Danny said was something about that Ty is still working on that racecraft that he needs to have for this type of racing.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with. Hard to argue with. Anything else you wanted to hit from this race?
Oh, that's all I got.
The only other thing is I didn't even realize this. I see you have it on the sheet here that Hocevar got the Xfinity Series or the Xfinity fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
That was Barry all day long, and I didn't even notice that Hocevar ended up getting it at the end. That's impressive for him. Not going to benefit him any, but it was neat that he was able to get that. Corey Heim ends up winning the Truck Series race, which no big surprise there. A cutoff race for them. They only eliminate two guys, so now they're on to the round of eight. And I don't know, they don't go to Kansas, right?
No, they don't race until the October 3rd.
Oh, wow. Talladega?
Um, I want to say it was Vegas.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
So they got a few weeks off to prepare for their.
So weird the way they do that.
Yeah.
Either way, Cup and Xfinity are going to Kansas this week, and that ought to be a good test to find out whether or not we're back into some actually good racing or not. And I'm looking forward to that one. Make sure to follow us on our social medias on X at Garage Area, on Instagram at The Garage Area, on TikTok at the.garage.area, and follow our personal X accounts, me, Adam White underscore 22, and Ryan at Ryan WW924. And we will see everybody after Kansas.